Good morning. This is Jamie Arenthal. Welcome to our 45-minute Vinyasa class with a final relaxation. Please feel free to play whatever music you enjoy and use your props. Let's begin standing. Feet are parallel, hip width apart. You can lift your toes and spread them out wide. Let's see if you can lift your arches just a little bit. Engage Mula Bandha, so that's like stopping the flow of urine for women. Lift your heart and see if you can roll your shoulders up, back, and down. You could do that a few times. Up, back, and down. We want to leave those shoulders behind us, palms facing forward. Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your prayer hands to heart center. Take a moment to set your intention for your yoga practice today. Feel free to use whatever first comes into your mind. And if nothing comes into your mind, you can use ahimsa, a Sanskrit word for do no harm, which for me means self-compassion, kindness, nurturing. Inhale, prayer hands up. And as you exhale, swan dive over, hinging at the hips, keeping knees soft to begin. Walk your hands halfway up, look forward, inhale. And as you exhale, pull your belly button in, round over, Uttanasana. With knees bent, roll yourself up one vertebra at a time, head last to come up, and lift those shoulders and place them back behind you. Inhaling, reach up. And exhale, swan dive over. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale over, nose to knees. Bend your knees, roll up. Head last to come up and circle those shoulders. Tadasana. One more time. Inhaling, swan diving, flat back, and forward fold. Go ahead and step your right foot back. You can lower the knee to the floor. Just make sure that that thigh is on a diagonal. You can relax the toe, hook thumbs, inhale, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. As you exhale, release the fingers down, step back, downward facing dog. Remember that you can pedal your heels here. You can keep the knees bent. Shake your head no, shake your head yes. And then rise up on tippy toes. Inhale forward to plank. Lower your knees, lower your chin, lower your chest, elbows in. And as you inhale, come onto your belly, hands beneath shoulders, pressing up gently for baby cobra. Elbows touching the ribs. As you exhale, release forehead to the mat. Bend your knees. Find your child's pose. Keep in mind that you can rest in child's pose anytime you please. Curl the toes under. Find your downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up, keeping hips square. Flex your right foot so the toe points down. And as you exhale, draw that knee to nose, come into that plank, lift that knee all the way up to your chest, and then send that right leg high. Exhale forward, stacking shoulders over wrists. Inhale, one-legged dog. One more time. Exhale, shoulders over wrists. And inhale, one-legged dog. And this time, exhale, pull that knee to your belly and quietly step that right foot between your hands. Feel free to lower that left knee to the floor, right arm up to the sky, twisting lunge. Press those hips forward. Enjoy that sensation of stretch in that left hip flexor. And then release the right hand down, step forward, coming to Uttanasana, forward fold. Remember, knees can be soft. Coming halfway up, and then reverse swan dive. Exhale, prayer to heart center and Tadasana. Inhale, gaze up. Exhale, swan dive, hinging forward at the hips. Halfway up, inhale, and exhale, forward fold. Let's step the left foot back, lower the knee. You can relax the toes. Notice that the left thigh is at a diagonal. So if you have not stepped back far enough, go ahead and slide that knee back. Hook thumbs, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Feeling that stretch. And release. Step back. Downward facing dog. Come to tippy toes and heel forward to plank. You can modify your vinyasa here. Lower knees, lower chin, lower chest, elbows in. And then inhale, sliding onto your belly, hands beneath your shoulders, pressing halfway up, baby cobra. Exhaling, lower forehead, bend your knees, and press back to child's pose. Downward facing dog. This time the left leg lifts up. Just keep hips square. So when you flex your left foot, the toes point down. As you exhale, draw the knee forward, shoulders over wrists, and then inhale the left leg up to one leg dog 3 times. Exhale, draw forward, and inhale, lift that leg. Exhale, draw it forward, and inhale, heel to sky, and this time pull the belly button in. Exhale and quietly place that left foot down. Lower the right knee. Lift that left arm up to the sky to twist. Feeling that stretch through the right hip flexor. As you exhale, left hand down, step the right foot forward, coming to forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway up, inhale and reverse swan dive. Exhale, prayer to heart center. Hands by side, shoulders back, Tadasana. Adding on. Inhaling, swan dive over. Inhale, coming halfway up. And exhale, forward fold. Right leg back. This time, high lunge. So think of pressing a beach ball between your hands. Notice right heel's off the floor and the hips are square. You could always modify with elbows bent for goddess arms or cactus arms, if you prefer. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Your option to do that modified vinyasa, knees, chin, and chest, or full chaturanga. Inhale forward, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, just elbows bending. Have them scrape the ribs. And then inhale, upward facing dog. So knees, hips off the floor, just the tops of your feet and hands touching. And then straight legs. Exhale, curl toes, downward facing dog. Right leg up. This time, point the right toe, stack the right hip over left. Down dog split. And for some of you, if you like, you can bend that right knee. Just make sure the knee is higher than that foot. And you can look under your left arm and kind of wave to yourself with that right foot. Shoulders square. And then step the right foot forward. Fingertips. Lower the left heel onto the floor, 45 degrees, and come halfway up. Right? Inhaling, reaching the heart forward, and then sweep the arms up for warrior one. Left heel is down. Right knee is bent, and you can bend that right knee more. Just keep in mind, right, that that left foot stays glued to the floor. You're activating that left and right arch in the feet, pressing that beach ball between your arms, or modifying with bent elbows. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come through vinyasa of your choice. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows in. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Left leg up. This time, point the left toe, stack left hip over right, down dog split. For those of you who want, bend the left knee. Left knee stays higher than left foot. You can look under your right arm and wave hello. Shoulders square. And exhale the left foot forward. Fingertips, right heel down, 45 degrees. Halfway up, bring those arms behind you. And then sweep the arms up, warrior one. You can bend that left knee a little bit more. You can straighten that right leg a little bit more. Imaginary beach ball between your hands or bent elbows. So remember, in warrior one, there are options here. Traditional has palms touching, but in that case, your gaze is up. If this causes stress on the neck, keep hands shoulder width apart, palms facing each other. Exhale, downward facing dog. Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Lift that left leg up. Step it forward. Right foot follows. Forward fold. Coming halfway up and reverse swan dive. Exhale, prayer to heart center. And release Tadasana. So adding on, this time you can walk your feet to touch. And for me, that means my big toe mounds are touching, but there's still a little bit of space between my heels. And that way my feet can be parallel. You get to decide. Bend the knees, arms circle by ears. Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. Try and keep those arms at the same level as your ears. If you want to modify, you could always bring those arms parallel with the floor, palms facing up. And if you had a hard day yesterday, you could even rest the hands on the thighs. As you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And your choice here, you can exhale and step back, or if you have a jump in your practice, looking forward, lower down. So whatever makes you comfortable. Right leg up, send it forward, warrior one. Let's open our arms, warrior two. Check behind you, make sure that left arm is at shoulder height, and then swivel your gaze back over the right hand. Your right wrist is over that right knee. So just notice if that right knee is falling in toward the center. You want to use that medial glute, that buttock muscle, to open that knee so it's directly under that wrist. Right palm faces up, tipping back, peaceful warrior. Straighten the right elbow. Feeling that right side lengthen. And you could even expand on that if you like by straightening the right leg. Again, no wrinkles in the back of your neck. So if that means tuck your chin, kind of send your gaze toward that right armpit. That's perfect. Go ahead and bend the right knee. Bring that right forearm onto that right thigh and sweep the left arm by left ear. Left elbow straight, so no dangling arms. Extend one straight line from left heel to left fingertips. And make lots of room here in this space between your right thigh and your right armpit, right? Don't sink into it. Lift yourself up. Spin your right ribs forward, left ribs back. And we'll revisit this with a bind. But for now, be here. And then turn your gaze down, hands to the floor. Step directly back into your plank, your vinyasa. Feel free to omit the vinyasa. We will meet you in downward facing dog, always. Left leg up, send it forward. Right heel down. Warrior one. Open those arms, warrior two. Feel free to check where that right arm is. Bring it to shoulder height and then swivel gaze back over those left fingertips. You're stacking that left wrist over that left knee. Notice if that left knee falls in towards center. Instead, open that knee so it's right over that ankle. Turn that left palm and tip back, peaceful warrior. Straighten that left elbow to feel that full length down left side body. And you can always expand on that by straightening that left leg if that feels good. And then bending that left knee, bringing that left forearm to that left thigh, right arm by right ear. Again, no lazy arms. Really straighten that right arm, one long line from right heel to right fingertips, and make lots of space between that left thigh and the left rib. Move your left ribs forward and your right ribs back. Maybe tuck chin and gaze toward that right armpit. And as I said, we'll have an opportunity to bind. Pivot your gaze to the floor, lower hands, your vinyasa. Taking 3 breaths here. Ears between biceps, tailbone lifted, dropping heels toward the mat. And then bend your knees. Again, you always have the option to step forward. Keep your gaze forward as you quietly hop forward. Inhale, flat back. And exhale to fold. Bring those feet to touch, bend the knees, arms circle by ears, Utkatasana. Inhale to rise, Tadasana. Repeating that with binds. Bend your knees, circle arms by ears, Utkatasana. Big inhale. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right leg up. Warrior one. Breathe in. As you exhale, warrior two. Breathe in. peaceful warrior. So if you like that bind, see if I can do this without messing up the mic. You can bring that left arm across your back and maybe bend the right elbow. The pincher fingers are holding the back of the skull. And if you can bind here. Maybe that means holding onto your shirt and then swivel your gaze toward that right armpit. Working right elbow up, left elbow down, option to straighten the right leg. Now you can release that right arm, bend the right knee, bring that right elbow or right forearm back to that thigh. You can keep that left arm here and see, if you don't have a microphone, this might be easier. See if you can place that left hand on that right thigh. That's a half bind. If you want the full bind, you can reach below, but then draw your head back over that right knee. So notice my hands are not under my groin. They are under my thigh. Yeah. And then for those of you who are here, you might even want to extend the right leg for a bound triangle. If that's too much, just let it go. And remember, you are perfectly free to be here in this extended side angle if that was a happy place for you. Half bind or full bind. And then when you're ready, bend the knee if it's straight, release the hands. Your Vinyasa. Left leg. Warrior one. As you inhale here, lift that heart. Exhale to warrior two. Gaze over left hand. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And if you liked the bind before, right hand behind you. Ooh, this mic. And then you could always bend the left elbow, pinch your fingers behind that skull. So I often call this supermodel pose. But then if you want, you can go for the full bind. Enlacing your fingers together. Yeah. And then maybe you can feel good straightening that left leg. It's up to you. And then when you're ready, you can bend the knee, keep the right arm where it is, bring your left forearm to that left thigh. So remember, you have the option to stay here in a half bind. You could always release to that extended side angle, or you can reach under, interlace your fingers, and then bring the body back in alignment with that left thigh. Right? So if I had a light shining down from above me, I would make a shadow as one long line across the mat. As soon as I break that, I'm now in a forward fold, right? So you want to slide the fingers back and notice again, my hands are not under my groin, right? They're under the left thigh. And then for those of you who went for it on the other side, you could always straighten the left leg for that bound triangle. It's too much, let it go. When you're ready, you can release the binds. Your Vinyasa, always waiting for you. Five breaths here. And then to come out of downward dog, bend your knees, look forward. Remember, you can step, 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 or quietly hop forward. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Bring those feet together, bend the knees, circle arms. Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Beautiful. Straighten yourself up, whatever that means to you. And we'll come to standing poses or standing balances. So I always have a chair here, and I will try to do it opposite from you. I'll mirror you so it's less confusing, but we'll see how that goes. So you're standing on the right foot. You can start with your hands on your waist. Go ahead and lift your left knee up. Start to move that left leg behind you for warrior three. Let's do it this way. So your warrior three could be here with the toe down, reaching those arms behind you. One long line, left toe to nose, right? We don't want to break the line. And then if you want, you can flex that left foot and see if maybe come to parallel. And if you need more support, you can always bring the arms out to airplane. If you want more challenge, you can bring those arms by your ears, thumbs point up, palms face each other, or you can simply hold on, which again, depending on the week that you've had, this may be the most loving, the most ahimsa-filled, non-violent pose you can do today. And then bend the standing leg. See if you can step back and come to that high lunge. Yeah. So there's a twist here, if you like. Bring the hands to your heart, cross left elbow over, spin the heart up toward those thumbs. Maybe expand those arms into wings, or a simpler, kinder twist could be here. And we'll take this into a seated twist in just a moment. So you can release your hands and slide the left knee to the outside of that right foot and come to sit down. Now, I'm not sitting on that left heel. If it's impossible for you to get that buttock down, go ahead and extend the left leg long. There's no discount. Pull that right knee up. Make sure if your leg is straight, you're flexing that foot. Wrap that knee into that left crook of the elbow or the crook of the left elbow and the right hand behind you. Now shrug that shoulder up, back, and down. And you can drag the heel of your hands closer towards your buttocks and then swivel your gaze over that right shoulder. Every inhalation is an opportunity to get taller. So think about lifting your spine. That doesn't mean throwing your head back, okay? Keep your chin level with the floor. And then as you exhale, see if you can twist a little bit deeper, bringing that right shoulder toward the back of the room. And then unwind. You can do a counter twist, right elbow inside, the left hand behind, and then release. Cross the ankles. You can come through a vinyasa, and we'll meet you at the top of the mat. Let's do the other side. So we were standing on the right leg. Now we'll stand on the left leg. Yeah. Hands start on the waist. We're going to lift that right knee up and start to send it back. So just notice what happens here, right? We don't want to bend over. We want to keep that chest lifted. And again, maybe our warrior three has the toe anchored. That's an option. But if you want that balance, flex the right foot and start to tip. keeping one long line from left heel to crown. Options are airplane arms, or most challenging, arms by ears, or you can even cheat. And I hate to call it cheat, but it's really take care of yourself. Yeah. So what do you need today? Think about keeping hips square. So remember in the beginning, we had that one-leg dog. One-leg dog differs from down dog split in that the hips are square. What does square mean? It means they're both at the same level. And if you were to take a yardstick, it would match, right? The height that the hip point would be. And you know it because when you flex the right foot, the toe points down. So like if my hip were open, there's that toe. It's like floating out to the side. So we want to stay square. One more breath here. And then we can bend the front knee and step back, finding that high lunge. Coming into a twist, hands at heart, right elbow this time over the left thigh, press left hand to right and spin your heart around. Make it harder by opening your arms for wings, or make it easier, hand on floor. So this is really the warm up for our seated twist, half Maharishi pose. And when you're ready for that, the left hand comes down. We drag that right knee to the outside of the left foot and then come to sit down. Same thing on this side. If you were unable to glue that left buttock down, we do not want to twist on a curved spine. Much safer. Extend the right leg out, flex the toe, draw that knee up, and wrap the right arm around. The left hand comes behind you. And see if you could drag the heel of that hand a little closer to your buttocks. Lift that shoulder and bring it behind you, like shrug it back behind you. Every inhalation is an opportunity to get taller. Yeah. So inhale and extend that spine. And that's without throwing the head back, right? We want to keep chin level with the floor and gaze over that left shoulder toward the back of your room. Use your exhalation to pull your belly button in and deepen the twist. Keep flexing that right foot if that leg is straight. And then when you come out of it, there's time for a quick little counter twist. Good. And then come back here. We're going to extend the legs out long and shift them, practicing Navasana or boat pose. So bend the knees, hands under those thighs, lift your chest up, lift and extend the spine. And as you exhale, keeping the feet connected to the floor, start to straighten your arms. So even without the balance components of boat pose, you're still engaging your core. So feel free to stay here, especially if you have any lower back issues at all. This is as far as you need to go. All right, but if you want to go further, you can float those legs up, keeping the shins parallel. And then the next step, if you want to make it harder still, you could release your hands. And then the next step would be to straighten the legs, which I'm not doing today. I am protecting my back. Okay. And again, if you feel like your back is rounding here, maybe you need to take one step back, like holding on. You get to choose. And I often, the visual that I use, which may not be pleasant to you, but I think of like I'm a hanging plant and here's the hook. It's right in my sternum, lifting me up. I guess a more ahimsa, gentle visual would be my hand at the back of your heart, lifting you up. And then come forward. Bring the soles of your feet together. You can move your buttocks out from under you. Hold the ankles for Badakanasana. Inhale, long spine, and exhale over. You can walk your hands away. You can also put a block on your foot and rest your forehead there. And the goal in Badakanasana is not to get your knees to touch the floor or your forehead to touch your toes. The goal is simply to release your inner thigh muscles, to release your lower back, and to release your neck. So you can tuck your chin here, let your belly go soft. And if you like, you could flutter your lips. So what does that mean? It's like a raspberry, like what a baby does. So you might lick your lips and then kind of sounds like a horse, my favorite. And then to come out of Badakanasana, pull your belly button in and walk your fingers under your shoulders to lift up. Let's do a second round of boat pose. And for those of you, if you have a block handy, you could place the block between your knees. So that's going to give you a little bit more awareness of how the adductor muscles, your inner thigh muscles that pull your legs together, are actually part of the deep core musculature. So go ahead, set yourself up for success, stick your chest out, extend the spine nice and long, and then exhale, straightening the arms. So this may be the perfect place for you. If you want more, you can float your shins so they're parallel with the floor. And if you want more, you can reach your arms. And if you want more, you could straighten your legs, any of these possibilities. Keep your gaze focused on something pleasant toward where the wall reaches the ceiling, maybe right about there. Keep the neck long. Keep the breath even, smooth, consistent. And when you're ready, you can come back to Badakanasana. Again, if you have that block handy, maybe you want to try resting your forehead on that block. Now, if you like, there's one more variation with boat pose that's more of an ab workout, and I'll show it to you. Feel free to pause and do it on your own. I'm just showing it. So you reestablish, right? Come back here, hands away, and then maybe, and you could add the arms to it if you want. Right? So as much as you like. Yeah. All right. So we're going to come into Janushirshasana. I need to say that wrong. Okay. Let's extend the left leg and take that right foot to that left inner thigh. I like to move my left buttock back behind me. And if you have a strap, which I do, you can always employ a strap if that makes life easier for you. So you wrap the strap around the ball of that left foot. Inhale, get the long spine going, and then hinge forward. And you can walk your hands up that strap. If this isn't an issue for you and you can reach the foot, then that's perfectly fine. And if you want an arm lengthener, you can always place a block at the bottom of your foot and just make sure thumbs point up, right? So we don't want to like round the shoulders up. We want to still keep those shoulders nice and relaxed as we exhale and draw the nose toward that knee. Now, using the idea of the antagonist muscle. So the muscle we're trying to stretch here is the hamstring, the back of the leg. So you can activate your quadricep muscle by drawing your kneecap up. So the left quadricep, the front of the thigh, becomes very active as we press that left heel down into the mat. And that helps us to stretch that hamstring. See if with each inhalation, you can lengthen your spine a little bit more. And with each exhalation, you can pull your belly button in and see if you can draw your ribs toward that left thigh. And then to come out, you can walk your hands up. Let's turn this into pigeon pose. So for some of you, you may do this on your back. You'll cross that right ankle over and come onto your back. For the rest of us, we leave that right leg where it is and just sweep that left leg behind us. Yeah. And make sure if you're using a traditional mat that your left leg doesn't go off the edge of the mat. It's straight back. You can walk it back an inch or two. You can come on up to your fingertips for a nice back bend and left hip flexor release, since we just used it a little bit. And then come on down first to the elbows, maybe stack fists, forehead fists. Maybe you'll go lower, elbows wide, hands flat, forehead back of hands. And maybe you'll look for full prostration, walking those hands out, chest to the mat, forehead to the mat or chin. You'll be here for 10 breaths. Take your time. Notice if you need an adjustment after halfway through, maybe 5 breaths, you feel you'll need to back off a little, or the opposite, you can go deeper. So just take your time. And to come out of the pose, hands under shoulders, lift up. If you'd like, there's a bind here, so you can bend that left knee. You can reach around with your left hand, thumb points up. If you want more, you can bring that toe to the crook of the elbow and find Gomukhasana hands. So any of these is valuable, or none at all. If you prefer, stay here in your back bend. Notice I'm on my fingertips. Good. And then when you're ready, you can release it off on that right hip. Bring that left leg around and we'll switch sides. Janu Sirsasana. The left foot on the inside of that right thigh. You can move that right hip back. You can use the strap or the block. Hinge forward. You can always let your head go and then use that antagonist muscle. So the right thigh, we want to activate the front of the thigh by imagining or lifting that right kneecap up the leg. And then see if that helps you. Keep flexing the right foot. One thing that I really like about the strap on the ball of your foot or this block is that it keeps that foot in that powerful flexed position. And just see if you can use each inhale to extend your spine, get longer, and use each exhale to pull your belly button in and bring your ribs a little closer toward that right leg. Safely come out. Walk your hands up that leg. If you are practicing pigeon on your back, the left ankle, you're on your back and you pull the legs in. Otherwise, leave the left leg where it is and sweep that right leg behind you. Just check to make sure that it's within the boundaries of your mat edge. Right? And you can walk that knee back an inch or so. Come on up to your fingertips first. So we're stretching the front of that right thigh that we just activated in Janu. And then exhale your way first to elbows. Depending how you feel, you can spread those elbows, hands flat, forehead back of hands, or full prostration. Walking those hands out in front of you, chest to the mat, forehead to the mat. You're here for 10 leisurely breaths. Remember, if part of the way through you feel that urge to back off, you can always take it back a step or go deeper. When you're ready to come out of the pose, hands come under your shoulders to press yourself up. You can stay here in a back bend or bend the right knee, reach to the inside of that right foot, right thumb points up, and have a little stretch here. Or you're still back bending, but you're adding in a bit of quadricep stretch, or you can bind. You can bring the right toes into the crook of the right elbow, and then arms in Gomukhasana. And then to come out of the pose, you'll sit off to that left hip, swing the right leg around, and come onto your back. So maybe if you want it, one last pose before final relaxation. Walk your heels closer to your buttocks, lift your hips up for a bridge. Feel free to stay here, or you could walk your shoulders beneath you and interlace your hands. See if you can draw the heels of your hands together. And keep pressing your heels into the mat and lifting up. For those of you who have full wheel in your practice, I won't go through the whole thing, but you can bring your fingertips facing your shoulders and in one fell swoop, straighten the arms and lift up to your full wheel. And one other option for those of you who are sticking around for Shavasana, you could also use a block here, and you can turn it this way and slide it horizontally under your sacrum. So it's below my waist, above my tailbone, to have a little Setu Bandhasana. Or if you're even more flexible, turn the block up this way and see. Again, if it's uncomfortable, you can lose that, right? It's supposed to be relaxing and restorative. So for anyone who's done that, you can happily stay there. For the rest of us, unbind your hands, come down from full wheel, separate your shoulders, and roll down one vertebra at a time. Separate your feet to the outer edges of your mat and windshield wipe your knees. And take your time here. You could even drop that inner knee down and then change to the other side. And you'll just feel that stretch in your hip flexor a little bit in quadratus lumborum. That's the love handle. And then we'll come into final relaxation. So your choice here, if your lower back is speaking to you, you could always keep your knees bent. Just turn your toes in towards each other. So it looks like, I guess you can't see. Let's see. Turn the toes towards each other and let the knees tent on each other. And then if you're fine, you can always extend the legs out to a comfortable V, tuck your buttocks beneath you, and then tuck your shoulders beneath you. So the arms are splaying out about 45 degrees. And if you feel any tension in the back of your neck, tuck your chin and then release it. Your eyes are closed, your lips are touching, you're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And if you like, you can use a mantra. A mantra is Sanskrit for mind vehicle. So you can use English if that works for you. You can think rising as you inhale, falling as you exhale, or simply in, out, or you can use Sanskrit. The mantra I love is so hum, which means I am that, which kind of means you are one with the world. You are everything. I am all that is. So as you inhale, so as you exhale, hum. As many times as you forget, gently, with ahimsa, remind yourself and return to your mantra. Rising, falling, so hum. In, out, rising, falling, so hum. rising, falling. So hum. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana, please remain there. Otherwise, begin to deepen your breath, inhaling so the belly rises, exhaling so the belly falls. If you like, take that deep breath in and exhale with your mouth open and vocalize, ha. Try that again. Deep breath in, belly rises. Ha. One more for good measure. Deep breath in, belly rises. Ha. And carefully bend your knees. You can bring the feet to the outer edges of your mat and windshield wipe, just bringing your spine back into neutral. And then dropping the knees to one side, roll to a side lying child's pose, stacking knee over knee, hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder. And then using your hands, press yourself up to a seated position, bringing the hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra. We'll say the blessing to each other, which means the light and the love in me recognize and bow to the light and the love in each of you. Let's say together, Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today.